Baker Mayfield is in a really difficult spot. Baker Reagan Mayfield, which we found out is his full name after his apparent departure letter to Cleveland, was the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. And after 4 roller coaster seasons, he's going to his 5th year with a future that is very unknown. There is so much that goes into it, and it's much more complex the more and more I looked into it. And so that's what I want to share with everyone today. And we can have an open discussion at the end, what we think is going to happen at the end of this. But we are going to go over the Baker narrative on, but especially off the field, his highs and potential as a quarterback, his problems on the field, and the current landscape of open quarterback positions around the league, and then cover why this is one of the worst situations he could possibly be in. There's obviously a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Before we talk about the X's and O's, we need to talk about Baker as a person, because this is incredibly important when covering this topic. Because when talking about NFL franchise quarterbacks, second to play on the field and winning game is their reputation, how they're received by teammates, fans, and the front office. And Baker is not the mold of NFL quarterbacks and how they've often looked in the past, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion. It's just a different style, and it comes with some huge upsides. But with Newton's law also can lead to complete opposite negative effects. The chip on your shoulder, trash talking one of the boys, and being on every single comedic progressive commercial can come with a few things. It can be a huge culture setter, kind of like Lamar Jackson has been able to do successfully in Baltimore, but when things go bad and you're not winning games, he is the first person the media and other players are going to attack. And being loved by your team and only your team is very dangerous waters, and we saw this with Draymond Green in the NBA early on in his career, when everyone hated him outside of Warriors fans and players. As his career progressed, he is much more liked among players, but we're looking at his earlier nut-kicking days. And unfortunately, Mayfield is on the latter part of the spectrum right now, where his reputation as it is now makes it difficult when he's searching for another team. Fans are very outspoken that they don't want a frat boy leading their billion-dollar organization, whether that's fair or not. However, if Baker was coming off one of his productive seasons and the Browns decided to still go for Deshaun anyways, which I don't disagree with because of the level of talent Deshaun Watson is, teams could be very excited about bringing Baker in to change their culture. But coming off a bad season and all the drama just as recently as Odell Beckham Jr. and the immediate success he had after leaving Baker and the Browns, the narrative that was being pushed is only grown stronger. But at the end of the day, it seems like Baker's a player's guy. It seems like he gets along with everyone. He's going to be dancing, and he's gonna back his guys through thick and thin, and this will be praised if they're winning games, but more recently, be heavily memed if you're not winning games and playing like teams think you should. Just another point to add to the fact that sometimes life isn't fair. A lot of NFL fans can be guilty of having short-term memory loss. A lot of people talk about Baker as being a sorry quarterback who's extremely limited in what he can do. But this was not the case just one season prior, as in 2020, he was widely considered to be an asset to his team and not a liability. He led the incredibly talented Browns team to an 11-5 record, while throwing 26 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, and led the Browns to their first playoff win since 1994. And we forget how close they were to being the 2-win playoff team, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But this was just one season on the Browns' roller coaster ride with Baker, because the season was preceded by a fantastic rookie year where he proved to be the gunslinging, culture-leading, chip-on-the-shoulder guy that he was presented to be out of college, only to have, honestly, a pretty terrible sophomore campaign, which is very real. It happened, and it has to be considered. In this past year in 2021, he was hurt. I don't even know what to take from the season, because so far he has objectively had 2 good seasons and 1 bad one. This one can't fall into either category because of how legitimately hurt he was and how bad the Browns have managed his injury situation, but we'll cover that later. But Baker decided to play, which personally I think is a mistake for the sole reason in the situation we're in now, but a torn labrum is no joke. It's honorable that he played through it, but at the end of the day, a very dumb decision, because he partially tore it in week 2 against the Texans and then fully tore it in week 6 against the Cardinals. and finally got surgery before the Week 18 matchup when they were finally eliminated from the playoffs. But Baker got labeled as this guy who's a system play-action quarterback, but I honestly don't think that's what he is at all. That's what he did because they had such a good O-line and two stud running backs, and that's what Kevin Stefanski likes to run. However, going back to his college days, Baker loves to spread it out, and he would have a lot of success in a Cliff Kingsbury type of offense when you use all 53 yards across the field. And he was really held back to what I can think he's actually capable of as a quarterback, but make sure to stick around to the end of the video for a very quick film analysis to show you what I mean by that. Don't get it twisted. Baker Mayfield is good enough to be an NFL starting quarterback, which is a pretty low bar for a #1 overall pick, but even the biggest haters can at least give him that. He's a fringe top 20 quarterback regardless of the talent around him, but his situation is very relatable to what people experience in the real world all the time. I'm sure many of you have experienced this. You might be absolutely ready for the promotion at your job, but that doesn't mean there's a spot open for you. Let's take a look at everyone's quarterback situation around the league. And obviously we know a team like Kansas City isn't the market for one, so more specifically, let's look at the teams that need one. We have the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Texans, the Falcons, and the Steelers. I believe Baker is better than all the current quarterbacks on those rosters, but when you're looking at a guy who is owed a guaranteed $18 million this year and is going to be in need of a payday the following season, he could have been a plug and play for a team like the Colts last year that were ready to win now, but none of those teams I just listed are ready to compete right now, maybe outside of the Steelers, but they just paid Trubisky, and a lot of people might see this as only a slight improvement or even a sideways move. The Seahawks, Panthers, Texans, and Falcons are all more likely to dip their toes into the NFL draft and get a quarterback on the cheap and hope to develop them. He's not head over heels better than Trubisky to take the contract like the Browns thought Deshaun was that much better over Baker, and even though Mayfield is better than anyone coming in the draft as they currently are, they're going to be able to take them on a cheap deal and hope to turn them into a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback as they build around their cap-friendly contracts, which we've seen the recipe for success in building a franchise. We look at Cincinnati, we look at the Chargers. Because we don't pay quarterbacks for how good they are, we pay them for what the market is. So not only are there already questions and concerns with Baker, but teams are definitely not thrilled to think about having to pay him $35+ million annually on a multi-year deal. Just another point in this video that the simple fact, life isn't fair. But let's check out some film. And this is going to be an incredibly quick film analysis. We're only going to go over 3 plays, but it would just feel sacrilegious if I didn't have some sort of film in one of my videos. One thing to note is his right tackle is going to get beat off the line, so he's going to have pressure in his face. And they're running like this banjo type man right here, so it's man coverage. This receiver has like a little curl route. This receiver has a little post corner. And then as soon as he crosses his face, he's going to pass him onto this safety as the running back, who's his man, is going to stay in the flat. So Baker Mayfield is going to make this really tight window throw in between these two guys. Let's check it out. And this is just a big time throw with pressure in your face in the 4th quarter against a division rival. And it's just to show you that Baker can, yes, indeed, make these tight windows throw. And he is not just a system quarterback, but he does a really well job when the ball is spread out. He has 3-4 receivers on the field, and he's able to step in and make these tight window throws. This is going to be a very similar concept. We have a 3-by-1 just on the other side now, but we're going to have a post corner right here. This safety is a middle of the field closed, so this is going to be an incredibly tight window. Baker Mayfield does a really good job low pointing the ball, but what I love is his feet in the pocket, his eyes, and so we're going to see the full angle from the side, and then we're going to go to the end zone angle to show you what I'm talking about. But just to show you how impressive this throw is, he's able to laser this in there for a huge touchdown against another division opponent. And why I bring this play up is when I'm doing film analysis on the rookies coming in, this is what I want to see from them. This is where he's doing a full progression from his left to his right. He has really good feet the whole time, active feet. He sees he doesn't have any hitch step. He just fires it in there, lasers it, low points the ball, protects his receiver, and this is a huge touchdown throw for the Browns. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but all 3 of these clips are all after he fully torn his labrum, so still not at 100% health. With the first one being Week 9 against the Bengals, Week 12 against the Ravens, and this is the Week 16 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. We have the closing minutes of the 2nd quarter, and we have a 3rd and 16. We look at the bottom of your screen. Baker Mayfield goes through his progressions with no hitch, lasered it 20 yards down the field into a super tight window. Great feet, great accuracy, and all the more very hurt. So we can see that Baker has good eyes, a talented arm, and can throw it in tight windows with anticipation. Obviously, there are a lot of plays when we can just look and ask, what the fuck are you doing, Baker? But to say he isn't capable of making NFL throws is insane, and the disrespect has gone a little too far in my opinion. Now let's talk about where I think he could go. In a perfect world, he goes to Tampa and backs up Tom Brady and takes over the team when Tom officially retires. This works out for a lot of reasons. Most of them you can probably just figure out because of the situation and follow kind of what Jameis Winston did with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. But realistically, I think it's so hard to actually pick because of the situation he's in and all the reasons I laid out in this video, and also why I think so many people don't even have a really good guess on how weird the landscape is for the quarterback situation and Baker Mayfield. But I want to open it up to you guys. If you guys have your opinions, I want to hear it in the comments. I am completely 100% open to have my mind opened on whether you think Baker's actually a bad quarterback, where you think it could go, or what teams you think should make a move on Baker. Let's chat about it. Make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate all your guys' support recently. It has been phenomenal. I can't thank you enough. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.